Hi. How are you this week? I hope you're doing amazing. I am coming to you today with my second week of how to get unstuck emails with some little tutorials to go along with the free PDF that you can sign up for in the link in this email. I would love to have you be a part of that email list. I hope that's why you're getting this. But if you haven't signed up for that yet, please go there, put your email in. And thank you so much for joining with all of this amazing free content that I am excited to give you. So last week, I got a ton of great feedback from people that the message is really hitting home and that there's a lot of frustration around feeling stuck and not knowing why that is and where to get out of it. So last week in the email, we discussed why we get stuck. I gave you a meditation that helped you reframe the comparison mindset that you might get stuck in. I know that I do that occasionally as I look at all of the amazing people around me. So it was a help to reframe the comparison mindset that leaves you feeling like you just don't measure up, and a different way to approach that. I also gave you a challenge to notice why you're making the decisions you're making and where those decisions are originating from. Is it because you've been taught that? Is it because someone else told you had to do it that way? What is that origination? And isn't that interesting to actually notice that? Yes, it is. So what I would love to know from you right from the get-go is, did the comparison spark did the meditation spark growth for you? Did you learn something from that? Is that something that you have then used since to be a different human in situations when you want to be? Was it helpful? And what did you find out from your exploration, from your challenge? Did you find significant areas of your life that are led by the decisions and opinions of others? I would love to know what those are. Please feel free to post them on my Facebook page, mandystraight.LLC, or you can respond to this email. No, you can't. You can email hello@mandystraight.com. I would love to hear how this hit home for you, in addition to the other people that I've been talking to, so I can add it and make this of even more value next time. I wanted to start this by saying a little bit of a throwback from last week, in that I just listened to an Oprah Super Soul Conversation podcast, and I am completely addicted to her podcast. It's so juicy. It's so good. It's uplifting. It reminds me of my humanity, which I think is her intention, to remind us of our humanity and to remember how phenomenal that humanity can actually be. It's very powerful. So I just listened to an episode that had guest Janet Mock, who I had never heard of. I looked her up. She's a brilliant writer, director, producer, and so much more. She happens to be transgender, and that is the conversation that she is having with Oprah. It is about how she was caged in, feeling stuck, not feeling like herself because of societal influences and opinions. And she really talks about how she got out of that, how she started questioning that, and what her journey was like. I would love for you to listen to it. I always like giving references so that you can go out and get even more information than what I'm giving you somewhere else, because people are brilliant. And all of this information overlaps because we're all getting at the same message, which is it's beautiful to be yourself. And we want you to dive further into that, because isn't it juicy? Yes, it is. So with that recommendation, this week, we are going to be looking at step 1. Since last week we talked about why we get stuck and where that originates, this week we are going to talk about step 1, the first step in the checklist, which is the first step is stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to fix it, sister or brother. Because the deal is we get into this pattern. And I know it sounds both a little bit obvious. Just stop it. If you've seen that skit that's really older than me, actually, just stop it. Stop it. And so I know it sounds a little bit obvious, just stop. And it sounds kind of impossible too. Like, oh, okay, stop thinking about a pink elephant and that's all you do. So let's examine this just a little bit more, because there's some really good stuff here. When you feel stuck, your mind, your body, your spirit, all these pieces of you start to panic. And we are wired biologically to move away from pain and toward pleasure. And stuckness is a very specific type of pain. It does not feel good. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with moving away from pain. That's a good thing in a lot of cases. At some point, we all have a capacity of pain that we can handle, and there's a point beyond that, and you just don't want to go there. But here are a few things to consider. The most powerful lessons that we learn are through pain. Do you remember learning to walk? I mean, I do. Okay, no, I don't. I have a horrible memory, and I would be interested if anyone remembers learning to walk. Please comment, because I'm curious. No baby, my point is, it's no cakewalk. No baby comes out of the womb strolling along and asking where the milk bar is, right? There is falling, there's crying, maybe there's some bruising. It takes a lot of mental focus, it takes learning, it takes balance, and it takes creating muscle over time for babies to learn to walk. All the other challenges in life are the same way. The difference is that as we get older, we get better at avoiding the pain because we see it coming. Hooray for us, sorta. So because we're avoiding this pain so well, we then miss out on all of the beautiful breakthroughs that could be possible. What is that next walking for you that you're avoiding because you are not willing to sit in the discomfort that must go along with the process? So I want to pause really quickly and say, I'm not advocating that you do something that's actually harmful. I'm not. All growth should happen with a healthy dose of self-care and should always respect you and those around you. So please know that in no way am I saying go out and hurt yourself to find out what's beyond it. But there are some sorts of pain that we can actually learn from and grow from. And those are the types that we're looking for, that feel uncomfortable or very uncomfortable, but they're actually not damaging to you as a human. We don't want to cause trauma because that'll just set you back. So, in the spirit of avoiding pain, we all tend to get roped into the overnight success stories, the quick fixes, the 5 steps to whatever, or 6 steps to get unstuck. It works. Advertising this way or phrasing things this way works because people want the pain to be over like yesterday, and they're ready to have it be finished. They want to fix it. They want to stop it like immediately. So yes, I want washboard abs tomorrow. Where do I sign up? And do I just send you the money via Venmo, and then like as soon as it hits your account, I've got washboard abs? Can I watch it happen? Because that would be great. So that's kind of unrealistic, right? And with everything else, we try to convince ourselves that it's realistic to think that we can change something overnight or that 6 steps of anything is actually going to change our life. It's not the 6 steps. It's the 6 steps as a method to understand yourself and to move forward from there. And the problem with fixing is that we are not a car or a computer. You're a human. And as my friend Otter says, we don't fix humans, we heal them, which doesn't happen overnight. So when we spend all of this effort on the fix, the problem is, we spend the effort on the fix and the pain being over. So we think, I just want to fix it. This is painful. I just want to fix it. This is painful. And what happens with that is that we fail to accurately identify the actual problem. It's like putting a Band-Aid on your knee when you have a headache because you're like, hey, I'm in pain, Band-Aids help. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on my knee for the headache. Or maybe it's like taking an Advil. Okay, I can't think of another example, but you know what I'm talking about. You're treating the wrong problem. It's giving you a cancer treatment for a headache. And what we have to do when we're trying to get unstuck, here's how this applies. What you have to do is sit in it. Okay, you don't have to do that. But this is a suggestion. I don't like have tos. This is a suggestion for you as an offer of how to get out of your unstuck, as how to give a different avenue that you can work to get out of this place that you're in. And I just ended a sentence with a preposition in which you find yourself. So what you have to do is if you sit in that pain, in sitting through it, the hard parts, you can actually learn what your personal brand of stuckness is here to teach you. This means no more averting your eyes or your attention from the problem. So in sitting in it, you got to just sit there, feel the pain, and look the problem in the eyes and see what it is you can learn from that. There's some juicy stuff on the other side. So I want to tell you a story about myself and my childhood. Does that sound okay? So when I was a kid, I'm going to give you a disclaimer. This is a ghost story and it's real. So all you naysayers, I guess you can put it in the comments, but I'm telling you this happened. And if you get scared real easily, well, you're probably maybe okay. You can decide that on your own. So when I was a kid, I lived in this house and all of the bedrooms, there's a tri-level, right? And so all of the bedrooms were upstairs. You go up the stairs and directly to the left, the right, I don't know my right from my left, directly this way at the top of the stairs was the bathroom. And halfway down the hallway was my bedroom. And all the way down the hall at the end, but still on the side, was my parents' bedroom. And straight ahead of you as you walk up the stairs was my sister's bedroom. So I'm sleeping in this bedroom over here. And I was probably 8 years old. And I wet the bed a lot. And my parents are like, what's going on? You're a smart kid. You're old enough. You got to stop doing this. You don't do it during the day. So what's going on and what's causing this? And so they take me to the doctor. And the doctor says, well, maybe she is not waking up enough to notice that she has to go to the bathroom. Maybe we will give her some pills and she'll wake up more easily, and then she'll notice that she has to go to the bathroom, and it'll fix the whole problem. So they give me these pills, and at some point, there's this sort of vague recollection of all of this happening, but what's very clear to me is that there's one night that I wake up and I'm laying there in bed and I'm thinking, oh, I really have to go to the bathroom. This is exactly what they were talking about at the doctor, and I'm awake. This is great. And I go to get out of bed and panic hits my chest, and I'm thinking, really, literally at 8, I'm telling you my thought process. This is what my brain did. Why am I so scared? I need to go to the bathroom. And so I start getting out of bed and I lay back down, and the answer that came into my head immediately was, I'm afraid of the shadow man. And I'm telling you, I realized this came into my head before I even remembered who he was. And I'm laying there like, shadow man. And I pictured myself getting out of bed and walking to the bathroom, which is just across the hallway, and a little bit toward the stairs. And I pictured myself doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's a man that I see on my stairs every night. I don't think I ever remembered that. Like maybe I was actually asleep. So I laid there and I'm thinking, oh, it's just too scary. I can't do this. And I start falling asleep. And I realize that I'm starting to pee. Yes, sorry, this is embarrassing and TMI, but it's a good story for what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm starting to pee and I stop myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm falling asleep. I have to pee so bad that this is just happening. No wonder I keep peeing the bed. This is what's happening. So I was very literally sitting in my discomfort. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. And I'm realizing I got to get up and go to the bathroom. So I get up and I go to the bathroom and I run across. I don't even look at the stairs. I run across the hallway, go into the bathroom, close the door. And actually what happened that night is that I fell asleep in there and I get woken up by my parents kind of calling in from the bedroom, Mandy, are you okay in there? And I got jerked awake and I was like, I'm fine. And so I run back across the hall and go under my covers and don't look. And the next night, wake up again and I have to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm 8. I'm a big kid. I know that ghosts aren't real. I'm going to face this thing down. So I walk out there. My heart is just pounding. And I walk out there and I look down the stairs at this guy and I see him. And this is the description here. It's the shape of a man in 3D shadow. He's walking up the stairs. He has his arms extended out and he walks up the stairs very slowly. And he really just stands like this and moves up the stairs. And there's no face. It's just all a shadow. And so I'm watching him. He's about halfway up and I'm standing in the hallway and I'm watching him come up the stairs. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm old enough. I don't have to believe in this. What's going on? And I'm thinking, it's okay. Just look at him. He'll go away. He's not real. And he keeps coming and he comes closer and he comes closer and he has one step left to get to the top landing, and I have to pee so bad. So I just run in to the bathroom and I close the door. Okay, so I gotta try again. Next night, I come out, I'm staring the man down, I'm watching him walk up the stairs, and I'm watching him and I'm watching him, and I say, "You're not there." And all of a sudden he fades away. And I never saw him again. Interestingly, as a little side to this story, when I was in high school, I took a poetry class. And in the poetry class, we had to write a Halloween poem. So I wrote the Halloween poem about this shadow man. And I had never told my parents because I thought they'd say, "Oh, you know, ghosts aren't real. It's okay. You're just scared." And that wasn't my experience because I was telling myself all these things. Okay, he's not real. He's not there. And I still was seeing him. So I didn't tell them because, and because I'm 8 and you just sometimes don't do that. So I wrote this Halloween poem about my shadow man and thought like, "Oh, okay, this is a fun Halloween poem." And I read it to my parents, and my parents were like, "Oh man, I can't believe you didn't even tell us this was happening. We feel so bad you went through this and we couldn't be there to support you." And my sister had been sitting there the whole time and she was listening to the poem too. And after my parents talked, I said, "Well, yeah, it was kind of crazy." And Lisa just looks over and says, "You saw that guy too?" Spooky. Oh. So that's my shadow man story. Point being, if we don't face down our fears, they're never going to go away. And we're going to keep wetting the bed all over ourselves, figuratively, I hope. Maybe not. I don't know anything about your life. You do you. Okay. So the point is, I was so trying to avoid the hard stuff that I was wetting my bed. I had convinced myself that the quick fix of avoiding getting out of bed and falling back asleep would work. It doesn't. Like my bladder, some things in life will only wait so long, and then they get more insistent the longer you ignore them. So by trying to find the quick fix and rushing through the identification of the problem, we are ignoring the shadow man and peeing all over ourselves in our bed. That's the metaphor I got for you. The only sustainable way to get unstuck is to shut up and listen and stop trying to run away from the problem. So sit in the discomfort and ask yourself, here's the activity for you. Find a problem that you are facing. Find something that feels uncomfortable. And it could be small. Like start with something small and easy, or start with something complicated, and you can do it. I know you can. So here's the activity. Get the problem in your mind and really wrap your head around it and ask yourself, why am I uncomfortable? And you may need to journal about this, but what I'd like you to do is get that why am I uncomfortable down to one sentence. Once you have it to one sentence, a really clear statement, then you want to ask yourself, what's behind this? Then ask again, and then ask again, and see what comes up from this. So using my example, a bit simplistic, and it's me as a child, but it's easy to see the relationship between all of this happening. So using my example, why am I uncomfortable? I'm uncomfortable because I'm 8 years old and I'm wetting the bed, and I want to spend the night at my friend's house, and I can't do that. Okay, that's long. I'm uncomfortable because I keep wetting my bed. Then, what's behind that? Well, I'm waking up and I don't want to get out of bed, so I make myself fall back asleep. What's behind that? I'm afraid of going to the bathroom. What's behind that? There's a shadow man coming up the stairs every night. Maybe we got to the root of the problem. So again, this is simplified, but sometimes it will be this straightforward and it'll be obvious what the source of the problem is. Sometimes it won't be that obvious. With more murky, more emotional types of problems, especially when complex emotions are involved, or warring parts of yourself are involved, you might have to ask what's behind it 5 times, 6 times before you know, oh yes, now I've gotten down to that little nugget that's at the bottom of this uncomfortable stuck feeling. Now, once you identify the real problem right at the bottom there, it's so much easier to decide on the baby steps that are necessary to shift this problem for yourself. So identifying the problem, sitting in it and stopping the fixing mentality, ceasing the fixing mentality, is your way of figuring out what the actual problem is so that you can actually remedy it instead of just trying for the quick fix and the avoidance method. which just doesn't work. Or it works now, and it is definitely not working long-term for you. It's not going to. So I'm curious to hear what you discover in this process. Please make sure to share on my Facebook page or tag me when you post on your own page and say, hey, this was this awesome activity I did. What comes out of things when you do it? And share it with everyone. I would love to know what that is. I'm going to leave you with one more piece of encouragement regarding sitting in your stuckness, which is the fact that you are always capable of handling more than you think. You think you can handle something for 15 minutes? You think it feels long? Do 30. You think a day seems like a long time? Wait 3. It's incredible what is on the other side of your belief that you can't do it. Once you sit in that and say, I can't, but I'm doing it anyway. I can't. And there's some realization there and some peace on the other side of that that you didn't have before. And I guarantee you that's a really good first step to getting unstuck. Thank you so much. Again, if you don't have the 6 ways to get unstuck, please click the link here and you can get them. And I would love to see you next week, week 3. We'll be talking about probably steps 2 and 3 together. And I look forward to it with you. I look forward to your feedback as well. Let me know how it's going for you. Bye.